The hay is in the barn. We've done all the work assessing these rosters. Now it's time to tell you how they stack up entering the season. We're doing that today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins.
Joe, happy everybody else vets report to training camp day to you today. I think every team that has not had veterans report is reporting today.
Why do I feel like it's maybe like the Steelers are the one team that's reporting on Wednesday? It's one or two random teams. Steelers and Falcons.
Steelers and Falcons. Well, then everybody except for Steelers and Falcons.
Yeah. They come Wednesday.
Seems disadvantage. They don't play each other on Monday Night Football week 1, right? Like, why are you a day behind everybody else? Is today travel day? Because you got to go to Pittsburgh does the college campus thing. Is it Latrobe still? Is that where they're still?
A lot of that's changed, but yeah, I don't know what the deal is, man. But they want to wait till Wednesday.
If McVay was going to have training camp in the Maldives or something after what they did mini camp in Maui, right?
Why not, man?
Be cool. That'd be fun. Turn it into a fun experience. What becomes the dog days of summer, right? But football back, lots to talk about. We are going to look at the roster power rankings that we have assembled over the course of the last 2 months. Joe and I took 8 weeks, looked at every team under a microscope, and then took the following week, the 9th week, and looked at starting quarterbacks across the league, coaching staffs, all of those filters now done. We have the final product, Joe. This is the 4th year we've done this exercise. So before this, we've had 96 teams ranked across the league. Some interesting data into that we're going to get into on the back end of the show. But first, we wanted to kind of start with just, again, this isn't who's going to win all the games per se, although there is a significance with that. It's who has the most to work with right now going into the year. And then when you put the coaching layer on, it's who do you feel like has the best total product to go out and execute if they stay healthy in 2025.
I love how you phrase that. It's which teams have the most to work with. We're not predicting the season. It's single elimination tournament to decide the champion. These are the teams with the most to work with. I think that's a beautiful way to phrase this.
Oh, there you go.
I'll say this before we reveal everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the year. You said this is the 4th year we've done this?
Mm-hmm.
This is the year where when we hit the sort button, it looked
past the sniff test.
Yeah, it really did. It really did in ways that maybe in other years I'm like, oh, wow, some of this really surprises me. The sniff test and what happened here looks pretty good entering the year.
Yeah. So our top teams without the coaching lens. We want to do top 5. We want to do top 8. We do top 10.
Top 10.
Top 10. Okay, so top 10 rosters without the coaching lens. And the coaching lens is important, but
without the coaching lens,
we just want to put talent allocation to work with in 2025 based off of what we know at this point in time about all the players. The Baltimore Ravens comfortably, almost 1.5 points.
Yeah.
Have the highest roster ranking of any team. The reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles come in at number 2. Then there's another gap between Philadelphia and the 3rd place team. It's another 1.5 points?
Yeah.
Draft Dudes do math.
Boy, dangerous.
Yeah, we're living dangerously here. The Buffalo Bills come in with the third best roster. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit Lions, Los Angeles Rams, Los Angeles Chargers, Green Bay Packers, Denver Broncos.
Top 10.
Top 10.
My
Pittsburgh and Washington all knocking right on the door on the outside. Looking at
You said,
top 10.
Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington, right there, knocking on the door. My big takeaway from looking at the top 10, or I expected Baltimore and Philly to be 1 and 2, and they are comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
It's Detroit, man. It's everybody's like eager to write off Detroit. Losing both coordinators. Frank Ragnow's not there. Jared Goff kind of in this new situation somewhat. And take a moment and just look at what they have. Still loaded. Now, questions on the D-line, I think, are real, especially because it's guys coming back from injuries.
Yep.
But I am pushing back on the death of the Lions. I think Dan Campbell is the perfect coach to internalize the doubt, right? Like, and weaponize it to fuel this team. They're loaded with great football players. And I was hesitant to push them aside. And after doing this project, I'm feeling even more comfortable with my belief that Detroit still controls the North.
Well, I hear you. And I would not be surprised if Detroit had a very successful season. But they have the lowest coaching grade of any of the teams in the top 14 on this exercise from a roster because we don't know about the offensive and defensive coordinators.
Right.
We gave Dan Campbell 4 out of 5 points. We like Dan Campbell, but they lost both coordinators. So that's what I think creates the variance in how this season is going to go for Detroit. If they get good contributions from both coordinators and Detroit stays healthy, they have the potential to be a wagon. And that's why I think the context is important to know where the weak points are in this exercise. Like, there's teams that don't score particularly well because we don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. That creates an added layer of variance. And it was funny when we get to segment 3 and we talk about historical numbers, with the exception of the 2022 Giants, which had no business.
Right.
Becoming
business.
They had the worst roster that we had graded in the last 4 years. They had the worst roster. They made the playoffs.
Jeez.
Washington did not score well last year. Jaden Daniels. Seattle did not score well in 2022. Geno Smith. The Broncos did not score well last year. Bo Nix. And Trevor Lawrence in year 2 in the first year with Doug Peterson. Those were the 5 lowest graded rosters that we had that ended up making the playoffs. And 4 out of those 5 had an incomplete evaluation or a rookie or a total unknown part of the quarterback element, right? So I say that to put the context into with Detroit, with the coordinators and their coaching grade, it's not necessarily well represented of what they're actually going to get, but we don't know right now, and it makes them hard to grade.
You have a prevailing thought here at the top?
We really like Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's a good call. I feel like that was one that's maybe a little higher than where others may.
I mean, because I think it's fair to kind of question Hassan Reddick's a big piece of their edge rush room.
Yeah.
Their second level of their defense with Servace Dennis stepping into a potentially a massive role, and Levante David and how much he has left in the tank. And they've had some transition in the secondary, and I know they're not going to have Tristan Wirfs for an extended period, or at least a small period at the beginning of the season. But I think that offensive line is well suited to survive for a period without him because of the other players. The skill group is respectable. Baker Mayfield has moved his way up in our rankings. Tampa checking in with a top 5 roster grade was a little surprising to me. And to be fair, your one cornerstone not playing on that roster, for them dropping down to, draft dudes do math, I mean, they could be down as low as 8th if a cornerstone player misses time and the player that steps in is either a replacement level player or a quality depth player. So it's pretty tight with the scoring, with the top. But the fully healthy Tampa Bay team, I think, coming in with a top 5 grade was surprising to me.
Which is also surprising that it's surprising, although I agree it is surprising. But this is a team that's won the division the last 4 years.
Yeah. I just didn't expect them to be above Detroit and the Rams.
All right, so that's our team this year. It's a Bucks life here.
It's a brand team, yeah.
On Draft Dudes. All right, we're gonna move on to the coaching impact. We kind of teased how that influences things. We're gonna get deeper into that here next, including a very surprising jump for the Kansas City Chiefs with their coaching influence. We'll talk about that and more. Be sure to stick with us. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL and use promo code LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information.
Joe, did you see? I'm glad we're talking coaches. Did you see that meme with Harbaugh looking through the curtains?
Yeah, I saw it.
Chargers practice with Herbert throwing the ball, and he's looking to somebody in my Discord just had the caption of me when the DoorDash driver pulls up in my driveway.
Yeah, dude, it's 100% true. It's 100% true. These little blinds right here, bro, I'm just peeking through them.
Just peeking through.
Making sure that their back's turned before I start making my way.
I don't have blinds, but I have curtains in them up on the second floor. So I'm like the creepy silhouette in the window upstairs, just like looking down. It's the Squidward in his house where everybody's running around outside all happy. Do you just want to start this conversation by revealing the top 10 with the coaching lens and how it's different?
No.
I
know you weren't expecting that, were you? You weren't expecting.
I just wanted to give the flowers to the Minnesota Vikings because they went from obviously an incomplete evaluation at quarterback. They went from 17th on the roster portion with the unknown element of McCarthy to 9th because of how well we regard their coaching staff. They have the second best coaching grade of any team in the NFL.
That's a good practical example of that influence. Here's what I wanted to say.
Okay, very good.
Because the coaching layer in our project is a big one, and so is the quarterback layer in our project. So I went through and I pulled the scores absent of quarterbacks and coaching. The range when you take away quarterbacks and coaching, the number one roster has a score of a 21.45. The bottom roster is 13.23. When you do factor in the coaching and quarterback, the range goes from 17.59 at the bottom to 37.78.
20 point versus what? An 8-point difference versus a 20-point difference?
Significant.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think it should be that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's another great example of the weight that we apply, and then things are very tight, and these kind of marquee elements to your roster can really move the needle. And I think Pittsburgh probably wishes they had Aaron Rodgers from a couple of years ago. They were 11th in roster, and then when you put the coaching lens on, they got jumped by a few teams, and they jumped a few other teams. They're still 11th.
Yeah.
And it's like they didn't really get the needle-moving piece. Now, it's better than what it would have been had they not acquired Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great call-out for the magnitude of what the coaching lens can help provide, where Baltimore, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Buffalo, and the Rams are the top 5 once you put the coaching lens on. So the Rams go up, the Chiefs jump the Bills because the Chiefs got 10 out of 10 points, and Buffalo only got 8 out of 10 points for the coaching staff.
But doesn't that speak to it? The playoff history between these two teams?
Yeah. And their final grades are separated by 0.18. So they're right there.
Can't wait for that one in January, Kyle.
Put its appointment. You could set your calendar to it, right? Jeez, is it the 3rd week in January? I don't know. Are the Bills and Chiefs playing in the playoffs or what?
Just hoping it's at Highmark to close out the stadium, you know? Either way, it'd be a poetic finish to Highmark Stadium. The Bills lose the AFC Championship game to Kansas City, or they win. Be the perfect way to do it.
The new one's looking nice.
Be ready for next year.
Very exciting times.
Yeah.
Baltimore actually widens their gap. So they have the best score in this project by 2 points. Then over the next highest team, which is Philadelphia. Philadelphia is about a 0.5 point gap over both Kansas City and Buffalo, who we just said are very close. And then it's almost another full point drop to the Rams at number 5. So I know we're focusing a lot on the top of the list here, but I feel like that's where people will have the most interest in how these scores are representing.
Can we spend a little time on Baltimore?
Yeah.
Loaded, right? I don't think it's hard to create a soapbox and tell you why the Ravens are awesome. I'm very interested to see how they finish this season, right? Like a lot of really good continuity with a really good football team. And I mean, obviously they showed up every week with 200 rushing yards. The defense came along. You know, a lot of that was kind of the swapping some parts. You had Trenton Simpson get benched, and now he's going to be back in the lineup, presumably to start. They bring in Darius Washington, and of course he's hurt, but they did get Malachi Starks. But I think their defense will start. It should start faster than it did last year. Obviously, everyone, whatever in Baltimore, whatever the headquarters is called, they got to be talking about how do we play our best ball in the playoffs, because that's all it comes down to. Like I've said this a million times, the Ravens' A game is the best in the NFL.
Yep.
I thought so last year, and I think it will be this year. What is it? What is it about these playoffs where they just don't play their best?
I feel like they approach the games differently, or they have.
You're right.
They've ended up in these negative game scripts way early.
Yes,
and it's
they
like,
want to just throw the ball.
Dance with the girl that brought you here, man. Like it's been the same thing all year. Like just keep doing that.
Right. All of a sudden,
what was the box score of the conference championship game that they lost to Kansas City? Where
it's a 14-10 game or something like that.
For 50 yards or something like that. It's like this. This shouldn't have been this hard.
Exactly that. It's like it's almost like it has to be Lamar throwing the ball for them to win play. Like if that's important for them. Just play your game. It's hard to stop. And then they get in these negative game scripts, and it's like, all right, now you're not the 2-dimensional wagon that you can be.
And I guess to be fair, and I know it's still not best quarterback in the league play. I think Lamar has made jumps with those performances and made a couple of big time throws down the stretch in that loss to Buffalo on the road, and had a chance to bring them all the way back. And Andrews obviously doesn't catch the 2-point conversion. And I think he has a 3-8 record versus Kansas City and Buffalo combined.
Is that right?
I believe so. Now, the 2 games that he lost to those 2 teams last year, week 1, Likely's foot comes out of bounds on a game-tying touchdown in the final minute. And then Mark Andrews drops the 2-point conversion that would have tied the game in the final couple minutes. So there's some bad breaks there. But I think there's a bigger picture question that is totally fair to bring up with them.
Yeah.
But they have more to work with than anybody going into this season based off this project.
And we'll see if they can do it. Obviously, Philadelphia right there at the top as well. So,
yep.
All right, we've got more to get to. We'll get into some historical numbers and why you should care about these numbers, because they do tell a very good predictive story. We'll break that down for you here next. Folks, be sure to stick with us. This is an ad by BetterHelp. Workplace stress is at an all-time high. 61% of the global workforce is reporting higher than normal stress levels. This summer is the perfect time to take small steps to focus on your wellness and manage the challenges that come with your workday. Of course, most of us can't just quit our jobs or take endless vacations, but we can start small, whether it's getting outside for a few minutes, adding movement into your day, or talking to someone who can help you navigate life's challenges. That's where BetterHelp comes in. Maybe you have some boundaries that you're wanting to set. Well, therapy can help you set boundaries, healthier boundaries at work, so stress doesn't spill over into the rest of your life. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball, under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following all the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? And you can do that with FanDuel. You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with daily promotions and fun ways to bet. I love logging in the morning and seeing what profit boosts are available. Lately, it's been the same game parlays for Major League Baseball. There's also a lot of spicy football futures opportunities. Maybe there's some teams that you're high on. Maybe you're listening to this and you're thinking, wow, that team sounds really good. We want to go over on the win total. Check it out over at FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started.
Okay, so first and foremost, there have been 21 teams in the first 3 years of this project whose roster scored at least a 25. Just the roster without the coaching element. 18 of those 21 teams have made the playoffs. So if you are the Buffalo Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles, or the Baltimore Ravens, congratulations. You are the three teams this year that are at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There are the four teams that scored above a 25.
Can I ask you a question? I hate to put you on the spot if you don't have this information.
Yep.
We have four teams that reach that threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a normal number? Is that high or low?
Slightly below, because it was 4 years prior, 21. Usually it's about 5. So it's modestly below average.
Got it.
The other lens that I thought was interesting at the very top of this list was if you extend the cutoff to 24 points. There's been 32 teams in the first 3 years of this project that had at least a 24. How many of those teams do you think lost triple-digit games? Of the top 30,
you mean double-digit games? Lost double-digit
games. Yep.
And how many qualifying teams had this?
32.
So 32 teams. How many of the 30 teams that scored north of 24 had double-digit losses?
Yes.
I'd hope that's a small number. 4 or 5, something like that.
5.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was the 49ers last year. Ravaged with injuries, right? The Rams in 22 with the hangover from the Super Bowl. They were ravaged with injuries that year.
Yeah. Oh, right? God, I remember the offensive line. They lost the whole thing.
Stafford was missing time. And
right.
That was the year Baker came in and
remember when Baker Mayfield was a quarterback for the Rams?
Tuesday and played on Thursday, started on Thursday.
All right.
Night, right?
All right.
So that's the second team. The 24 Jets.
What happened there? Were we in? Oh, everybody was in.
Everybody was.
I remember not predicting them to make the playoffs, though.
Yep. I think I had them at 10 wins last year. They got 5. So shame on me.
Jets hype train got us, Kyle.
And then 2 more teams from 2022. The Cleveland Browns went 10-7. And the 22 Colts went 4-12.
The 22 Colts. We were in on the Colts, and then they did that to us.
Who was the quarterback in 22?
Is that Matt Ryan year?
Yes, it was.
Or the Phillip Rivers year.
They went 4. No, because Phillip Rivers made the playoffs.
Yeah,
they went 4-12-1.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The Colts did, and it was Sam Ellinger starts 3 games. Nick Foles starts 2 games. Matt Ryan starts 4 games.
Okay, so they wanted it to be Matt Ryan. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Matt looked like the ghost of Matt Ryan.
Jeez. Remember how heavy those feet were? I couldn't think he could do a 5-step drop.
Yeah.
Before getting sacked.
It happened fast. So those are the 5 teams. If you had above a 24, 27 of 32 teams had at least single digit losses. Now there's some 8 and 9 teams. That Bucs team in 22 that won the division and made the playoffs at 8 and 9 was one of the best rosters that we graded in this process. The Packers in 22 went 8 and 9. They're the best team in this exercise over the last 3 years that missed the playoffs from our roster power rankings.
LaFleur's first year was that? No, he was 13 and 3 his first 3 years.
Yeah, it was after it was the last year of Rodgers in Green Bay.
Gotcha. Oh yeah. When he stopped running the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gotcha.
And just started throwing YOLO balls down the field.
Did that for the next couple of years, and now he's in Pittsburgh. Cool.
The 24 Dolphins are, along with San Francisco last year, were well-graded teams. Their team, they lost 6.5 games of Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
I venture to say they probably would have beat Tennessee and they would have beat the Colts. So that's a team I think had a very easy path to not being amongst the outliers here at the top of the list.
Yeah, and also with that Miami team, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, we try not to discriminate against injuries, and that was part of that preseason ranking.
Yes,
and obviously what they get 4 games of Phillips, and that was about it.
Yep, and they got no games.
No Chubb, right? So
yep. So, by far the 2 biggest outliers in this process happened last year with the 24 Vikings, who went 14 and 3. With Sam Darnold, we had questions with Sam Darnold. We didn't like their offensive line all that much.
They didn't either.
Yeah, they didn't either. They spend a first-round pick and 5-year deal for Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. And Washington last year are pretty comfortably the 2 biggest outliers for teams that scored low on the bottom of this list. So if your teams – and the worst team this year from a roster perspective, the Browns and Saints are both just barely over 14. They would not crack the bottom 8 of teams that we've done in this process over the last 3 years.
So those are the worst teams in the NFL this year, in our view. But over the last 4 years, they're not as bad as other teams that we've had. Correct. Is what you're saying?
The worst this year is not as bad as some other teams have been. Like the 22 Bears that went 3 and 14 were the second worst. The Giants from 22 were the worst, and they made the playoffs and then kind of showed their true colors. But then it was Arizona in 23, and they went 4 and 13. Houston in 22, they went 3 and 13. The Jets in 22 went 7 and 10. The Raiders in 23 went 8 and 9. The Commanders in 23 went 4 and 13. The Giants last year went 3 and 14. And then you had a couple outlier teams, like we mentioned with the Giants, who made the playoffs, and then Washington last year. So it's not like a foolproof thing, but obviously you're elevated by Jaden Daniels. We weren't sure what the coaching staff was going to look like with Cliff Kingsbury. And Dan Quinn obviously didn't have the shine that he does right now because of how things ended in Atlanta.
That's the lingering thought on our mind, and knowing that he was not their top option, of course, that's worth pointing out. I think what's interesting about the Saints and Browns at the bottom, and expanding on the talking point of worst 2 teams this year, but pretty respectable relative to other teams we graded poorly over the last 4 years. Those are both teams that I would say are very much products of like the way that they've managed their salary cap and kind of got stuck with a lot of like pretty good players that don't align with their timeline as a team, like with their life cycle as a team. So like they have irresponsibly good players based on the reality of their situation, I think is what's kind of pushing them up with unique circumstances when it comes to the Saints and their overall cap management, and the Browns and still paying for the sins of the Deshaun Watson deal.
Right. So we talked about a threshold at 25. We talked about a threshold at 24. I want to bump it down to 23. If you had a roster score of 23 or better, you had a 60% chance of making the playoffs. So it ends up being 31 out of 52 teams made the playoffs if you had a 23 or better. So teams this year that had a 23 or better from a roster perspective is the top 11. The Ravens, Eagles, Bills, Bucks, Chiefs, Lions, Rams, Chargers, Packers, Broncos, Steelers. And the Texans, Commanders, and Dolphins are all within a half a point of 23 points.
Bengals, Niners, Vikings right there. Cowboys right there.
Right. And then obviously that's without the coaching element where San Francisco and Minnesota get big bumps from a coaching perspective, where both of those teams actually jump Washington when you put the coaching lens on because of how tightly packed that group is. So we obviously didn't come in here and shovel a bunch of mud on the teams that didn't score well, but kind of just based off the historic thresholds of the elites have a really good track record, 18-21 make the playoffs. If you bump it down to 24, which is kind of what you would consider to be the good rosters without the coaching layer, it's about 70%. And then the 23 threshold is like, hey, this is kind of where the playoff cutoff happens. It's above a 50-50 coin toss for those teams. So there you go.
We did it.
We did it. Hayes in the barn, as Joe Marino said at the beginning of the program.
Well, our hay in evaluating the rosters is in the barn, but things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. Trey Hendrickson might not be a Bengal. That would hurt their score. Injuries, but the preseason stuff is over.
I'll see you tomorrow in South Florida. You won't be there, but I will be calling in from South Florida.
Yes. Bold bets. We're going to take each other up.
That's right.
The next couple of days. I'm excited to see what you had. I don't know what you picked, so it'll be fun the next couple of days to challenge our takes.
Very good. Kyle Crabbs, Joe Marino, Locked On NFL Scouting. Look forward to talking to you all again tomorrow.